All right, everybody, Crawler XP here. This is another video, obviously. No, but if you watched the other one, I put out a video yesterday and I named it Quick and Dirty, and it really was. It ended up being like a half an hour long. But if you want to watch that one, it's much more detailed than I think this is going to be. But some people said that it was too long, and I totally agree. So we're just gonna. I usually don't like to do straight up gameplay footage, not really edited or anything like that. But that's exactly what we're going to do right here. I'm going to show you the different weapons that we can use as a warrior. So we're going to power through them all right now. I'm going to show you right now. So let's take a look. Different warriors that you can use, weapons that you can use as a warrior. As you can see right now, I have in my main hand my axe, which means the auto attack, which is good damage, and it lets you corral your targets. It doesn't stick you in the ground like the greatsword does when you deal your heavy hitters. The auto attack damage on the axe is why anyone uses it. It's great for auto attack damage. It's wonderful. And it's got a fair little range on it too. So next attack, Cyclone Axe stacks vulnerability. You'll get to see that in a minute. It does 2 hits on AoE targets around you within a 1 in 30 range, so it's melee range, but 2 hits, both of which stack 2 vulnerability. You'll see that in a second. Throw Axe, I can chuck at an enemy to slow him down. As you see, it's got a cripple on it there. My Warhorn and my offhand, strictly offhand weapon like the shield, cannot be main hand. This one grants me swiftness and cures all movement impairing effects on me and my allies. My Warhorn will also convert boons, or convert conditions to boons, and boons are, if you play every other MMO on the planet, those are your buffs. So let's check it out. Let's get into the action. This one here is gonna give me more endurance regeneration, and it will imply weakness to my enemies, as you will see right now. So he's got weakness on him right there, and that means he's going to do less damage. His white hit attacks, his non-crit attacks, are going to have a chance to fumble, 50% fumble chance, which basically means 50% chance to do 50% less damage. And you can see me here as I'm fighting these guys, and I apologize, I'm going to miss a lot of dodges because I'm trying to talk here and concentrate on what I'm doing and playing a stupid game. No, I love this game. I'm going to miss a lot of dodges here. And you can see me doing decent damage with this, and the Axe Burst skill here, Eviscerate, does a fair amount of damage like this, as you can see. It is one of the more popular warrior burst skills that we can use. The Axe one, Eviscerate, I just showed you, is one of the better. It deals a lot of damage, and it's got a little bit of a jump on it, so it's pretty good. So I apologize, deadass. I'm so sorry. I'm in the middle of talking. I can't stop and reply to you, but you know what? I'm going to anyway, because it's only polite. Thank you! There you go! So totally cool. And so we've got the Warhorn here. I just showed you. He's really excited. And I missed that fucking dodge. And the Axe, different attacks. And the vulnerability stacking, like this, you can see it did 2 hits, each of which stacked 2 vulnerability on both of these targets. So now they have 4, which is 4% increased incoming damage. So there you go. Let's check out a different weapon. Warrior, Greatsword. Very, very popular. I'm going to just prepare for my next setup here. Let's put this on my offhand. I'm going to show you double axe here. You know what, let's do that now. I've got double axes here, and I'll show you exactly how that works. If I run over here to a group of enemies, the 2 axe offhand skills, one of them builds Fury, which you probably won't need as a warrior. The other one is Whirling Axe, and that lets you deal AoE damage to the targets around you. Admittedly, was more effective at its job before they nerfed the Omnom Berry foods, so you could use it as a heal button, but you can't do that anymore. But it can still do this. And you can still dodge while you're doing it. You can see I got an evade there in the middle of that whirly-doodle, which is the whole point of that. You can deal damage while avoiding damage. It's really nice. It has its uses. It's not nearly as good as it used to be, but that's okay. People still use it. It's situational. If you have a lot of targets that are on all sides of you can't corral together, and you need to deal damage to all of them at one time. It doesn't happen very often, but it's still a fun skill to use. Like I said, this one stacks Fury. I showed you. It's not a great skill. Considering as a warrior between For Great Justice and Signet of Rage, you will probably have all but infinite fury anyway. I wouldn't worry too much about that. So we've got the dual axes there. I'm going to show you Greatsword next, but I'm going to prepare for my next. We'll put the dual swords on there. Let's just get those both up. I'll show you swords in a minute. But Greatsword, ever popular warrior weapon. The 5 skill gives you great distance if you've got a speed boost like this. It is a gap closer, but you can get stopped in the middle of it, so it's not that great. You can see the auto attacks with the sword. I'm stacking vulnerability on this guy when I hit him with my auto attack, which is nice. This Trampler guy, I'll demonstrate another skill. I want him to do his charge, though, first, so that I know I'm not going to get interrupted. Would you just fucking do it, you idiot? Oh my god, I hate you. I hate you. You're going to wait till I... Okay, now we dodge him, and then 100 Blaze, second skill. Deals a ton of damage. It's the reason people use the Greatsword other than the mobility for it. And the mobility, allow me to demonstrate that real quick. I showed you this skill, like that, It's great for getting some distance. And the whirly skill, this skill number 3, whirlwind attack, is as good as a dodge. When I do that, you cannot take damage. It's as good as dodging. It's invulnerability frames, which is wonderful. You can see here with my 4 skill, I can chuck my sword, and it's going to come back and hit him again. Cripples him both times it hits him, which is nice. 100 blades I can use here. The sword burst skill, not that great. Gains fury, which you're not going to need anyway. I'll use it just to show it to you, but it's not that great. I wouldn't use it. I don't know anyone that uses the great sword burst skill. Not worth your time. Double swords, you can see right here. They inflict bleeds. Sword is a bleeder weapon. We inflict bleeds like this. You can see the damage coming off of my bleeds is considerably lower than most people's would be, but that's because I have no condition damage. You can see I can chuck my weapon, my sword, at the guy, deals bleeds. I can rip it out, deals even more damage, which is nice. Some people will use the swords. It's definitely PvE though, because if you use it in PvP, you're probably not going to do very much. And whether you have 1 bleed or 25 bleeds on a target in PvP fighting against other players, they're all removed with 1 cleanse. So it's really not worth the effort to do in PvP using the sword. You can see the second skill here is a great gap closer like this. Get you right on top of your target real quick, no muss, no fuss. I've got a hamstring, lets me cripple the target. And the burst skill, you can see, locks them in place, deals a bunch of bleeds. It's beautiful, it's a great skill. If you're using the swords anyway. The swords, they're a popular weapon with people who love condition damage. A condition warrior, it can be fun in PvE, but be aware. If you're doing that, if you are with a buddy and, I don't know, just be aware that the max number of bleeds on any target, regardless of any other factors, is 25. So if you and your buddy can deal conceivably 30 or 40 bleeds on a target, you are wasting anything above 25, which means you're gimping your damage between you. You can only have 25 bleeds on a target at any one time, so just be aware of that. If you decide to use a bleeder build with the warrior. The shield, another popular weapon with the warrior. I showed you the greatsword, so I'm going to switch that out for the hammer. I'll show you that one next in a second. The shield is a nice weapon. It gives you a block, which is cool. 3-second block, on cooldown though. And it gives you shield bash, which is a little bit of a gap closer. I'll show you the block skill right here. So they're going to try to hit me, but it's going to block. And the shield bash is this. Poof! And you can see it'll stun him. Works great as an interrupt if you have a target that you can see is going to do damage. What a lot of people will do is they will combine the shield with a weapon like the hammer. And I'll show you why. Let me just get rid of them. As you can see, the auto attack damage on the sword, not bad in itself. A lot of people will use that with a shield. So it's definitely not bad. Let me show you the draw of the hammer. So you can see with my shield here, I can charge him with a shield bash, stun an opponent. What I do after that, immediately I will switch to the hammer and use the hammer burst skill, which is an AoE stun. Let me show you. Let me do it with this guy. We'll hit him. Actually, I'm going to block here quick, just for the sake of it. And then, what I would do is switch to the hammer, something like this. Use the burst skill. As you can see, it deals AoE damage to people, and it's an AoE interrupt. As you can see there, we have a level 1, level 2, level 3, stuns of different length, radius 240, combo finisher, blast, which is phenomenal. And then your 4 skill, if your enemies are getting all up in your grill, just wham, and you knock them all back. And they're like, dude, what the fuck? And your 3 skill, cone cripple, so now they're all crippled. My A skill, apply weakness, can hit more than one target. 5 skill is a knockdown, single target, but he's going to know it when you hit him. As you can see, he's going to go down there for a second, it's an interrupt. The hammer gives you great fight control if you use it. And you can see my burst skill's off cooldown already, so I could do this again. My other skill's off cooldown, I could do that again if I wanted. So the hammer gives you a lot of fight control. It's great for that. Let me show you. Let's put the maces on. We equip this mace. I have another mace here somewhere. Where the hell did it go? There it is. Yeah, a lot of these I just bought from the trading post because I wanted to make this video. I actually don't own swords or shield or the maces anymore. So I just bought them off the trading post, a couple of blues. So we've got maces here. On my Switch, I have the sword and board. But the maces, you can see their main attack, it's slow, but it deals weakness and the damage is fair. Here we have a counter strike, which means I'm going to block. The sword has one of these two. You block with this, and then you counter the next enemy attack. If nobody attacks you, you get adrenaline. So I'll show you that one. This one, you bash your foe. It's a quick interrupt. The daze is negligible, but it's an interrupt if you see somebody casting. And then Crushing Blow will apply 4 stacks of vulnerability, and Tremor will send out a shockwave that cripples or knocks down enemies in a line. So let me show you Shockwave, like that. He was out of range, but you can see the auto attacks going off here. They are slow, which is one of my big problems with the mace. Let me show you. We'll do This one, which applies weakness, here will block and counterattack. It didn't go off. That's nice. Let's daze him. Fuck you. Block. Block. What the fudge? Did I, like, cancel it or something? Is that what I'm doing? I don't use maces often anymore. I used them once when I was leveling to try out some builds, but normally I don't use them. There we go. We block and we counter and he's down. So we use the auto attack. You can see the auto attack, the last one here, will stack vulnerability, I believe it is. Vulnerability, or, yeah, it's weakness, okay. So it will stack weakness. So if you're using the mace, it's going to considerably lower the amount of damage that your enemies are doing to you, because stacking weakness means that effectively a large portion of it is going to get halved, which is nice, except on bosses who probably won't care. But yeah, so you've got your weapons there. Other weapons to be aware of as the warrior, your ranged options. Bow and rifle. Your rifle is your single target, you need to die right now weapon. From range, you can see, the thing everybody loves about this is kill shot. And if you can see, if it crits, obscene damage. Boof! And he's almost dead. So I'm just going to take him out. You can see every auto attack shot with a rifle inflicts bleeds, which is nice. This attack is a cripple, you're number 2. So we'll cripple him. This attack deals a lot of damage. It's a volley. Like that. This attack will inflict vulnerability 8, and if he gets too close, hit him with the last one and knock him back. And he's dead before he gets back to melee range. And so your rifle is your single target dominator, and then your bow is going to be for your sieges. As you can see, each auto attack fires 2 shots. It's number 5, locks the enemy in place. Number 4 does a little explosion and inflicts a blind. Number 3, AoE explosion. Crazy damage. And then your number 2 is splits it into 3 and shoots flaming arrows. If they all hit, it's decent damage, but it's not great. The burst skill inflicts burning over an area, creates a combo field, as does this skill, your number 3. Which is great. The combo fields and the burning and the explosions from the bow are why you're going to use it if you use it. It'll let you hit enemies on ramparts, through walls, on towers, through gates, whether you're being sieged or you're taking part in a siege. This is your siege weapon. It's great. It's good for that. So is the hammer, hitting through gates, knocking enemies down, taking care of enemy siege and disabling enemy siege operators behind a gate if they're using rams. Good for that too. So check it out. Use these kind of weapons. Let's check out your underwater choices. These are above ground. Let's check out underwater. Okay, here we go. Okay, as a warrior for underwater choices, you have the spear, which is my personal favorite. Your auto attack isn't anything special except the last hit inflicts a cripple, which will keep the enemy in front of you, which is good and bad depending on your situation. Mariner's Frenzy, really quick attacks. You'll deal a bunch of damage. It's not great, but it's not bad. And it will hit multiple targets, as will your auto attack. Harpoon Pole, 600 range, deceptively small, but it will yank your enemy to you and acts as an interrupt as well, even if they're right in front of you, which can be good for bosses, draining their defiance. And parry, again, block the enemy attack, counterattack. If you don't get hit, you gain adrenaline. And Tsunami Slash is the gem of warrior underwater combat. If you're targeting an enemy, you will whirl toward that enemy, stop on top of it, damage it, and everything around it for a crap ton of damage. But if you're not targeting anything, it's good for getting around as well. And I'll show you that skill. I'll show you all the skills. Let's get started. You can see I'm going to drag this guy toward me with Harpoon Pill, act as an interrupt. We'll go to Mariner's Frenzy. I'll use the block skill. He didn't hit me, so I get adrenaline, and then I will use Tsunami Slash, which deals a bunch of damage. So that's the spear. Its burst attack is a stun, so it's another interrupt, but it's not that great of a skill, honestly. I don't really use it. But there it is if you wanted to see it. We'll use Mariner's Frenzy again, and he goes down. Your other choice, the Harpoon Gun. Take note, your auto attack deals different damage depending on how far away from the target you are. You want to be 800 plus range. Between 8 and 1200 range is the optimal for that weapon. All of your attacks are effective at that range with this weapon. You have your auto attack, Brutal Shot, which makes them vulnerable. Really low cooldown, so you can stack a couple vulnerabilities on a target using just that one skill. And then you have Split Shot in case they get close. It'll inflict bleed as well. Knot Shot will immobilize your enemy, lock them in place. And Repeating Shot will knock back your foe if they get too close. So let me just show you how that works. I'm going to fire at this guy like this. We'll lock him in place like that. Fire this one. Use that. Use our burst skill, which is just extra damage. Let's push him back a little bit with our 5th skill like that. And he's going to come in close again, so we're going to switch to the spear, start using the auto attack. We'll use Mariner's Frenzy. We'll use Tsunami thingy like this, and you can see his health start going down. It's a lot of damage from Tsunami Slash? Yeah, Tsunami Slash. We use the interrupt there with that. We use Mariner's Frenzy again. And you can see I'm eating away pretty steadily at this Broodmother, who is not a champion, but it feels like she should have at least vet status. But that's alright. So you can see how these work. Take longer than I thought it would. I apologize for that. Use the whirly thingy, and then use tsunami thingy, and then use buff and mariner thingy, and beat on him, beat him, stab him. Fucking got it. Okay, so those are your weapon choices as the warrior. Now you've seen them all. Greatsword, really common in PvP, world versus world. If you get quickness, you use Frenzy and Bull's Charge, get on top of your opponent, 100 blade them down before they know what happens. People try that a lot. People will use the axe or the sword with the shield to combine interrupt and the shield block with something that deals fair damage. And people will offhand the hammer just for that same reason. It gives people fight control. They can knock opponents down. As I said, your bow is going to be your siege weapon. Your rifle is your single target damage unless you trade for it, in which case you can fire a kill shot into an enemy Zerg and cause a lot of pain in a short amount of time. Maces are predominantly for fight control and survivability because they will continuously apply weakness to your target and everything around it that you're hitting. The swords, bleeders are nice, but watch your bleed cap, 25 on any given target. Axes, the offhand, not really worth it most of the time. Whirling axe is nice, but was better when you could use it as a heal button with the Omnum Berry Foods. So there you go. You got your warrior weapons. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm gonna go for a swim. Here we go. We're in the water. I'm spinning. I'm using the whirly thing for transportation. See, we're moving around. The screen's going crazy. Oh my god. Okay, I'll see you next time. And black.